Hi, I'm Veena Gupta, founder of SEAM Group and a global member of the DLC Security and Cybersecurity Committee, Delhi chapter. Today I'm going to speak at DLC Talk on the topic workspace safety matters and why. Well, I'm so confused and nervous. Ask me why. Because this subject is so close to my heart. What is the workplace safety? Well, it's a very, very deep topic which is not spoken well and talked about it. We need to understand the type of workspace safety, what does matter, why so important. It's very, very important for any corporate to provide a safer environment for their employee. Why? Because, I have seen many people suffering in isolation. They've gone through many gender discrimination, harassment, but they have not spoken about it. I'm talking about male. Of course, the female, they go under this sexual harassment. But workplace harassment is all about environmental safety, workplace safety, mental safety, emotional, physical, and virtual safety. It's really required for corporate to save their brand and their reputation in the market to provide them the best, safer environment. Now, to get into the deep understanding of the harassment, we need to understand what kind of harassment it is. If you ask me as a female have gone through many gender discrimination harassment because I was a female, got into a business which was male dominating, and people, they couldn't digest. Well, there are many other harassments. So let me just explain one by one. One, it's a verbal harassment. As I said, people, they used to laugh. They used to rebuke on me. Where everything is very, very verbal, taunting, talking about your body, talking about your size, talking about your clothing. That is very, very verbal harassment. The second harassment is a psychological harassment. As I said, that many people leave the company and we don't even get to know why the employee has left that company. He was working so fine, but we don't even get to know what is going on in his mind. You know why? Because sometimes we don't give the credit of his or her work. We give credit to somebody else. We give them the extra pressure. We give them the extra load of work. We taunt them, we talk, and we say something which is not relevant. So that's a psychological, and some people, they really do commit suicide. Now we talk about the third is the cyberbullying, which is the cyber harassment. Well, we all aware of it. During pandemic, we all have started living in new normals risk, which is digital security, digital bullying. Our kids have been exposed to the camera. Camera has came inside our bedroom. We have no space left. So that's the cyberbullying we've been talking about. The fourth is the physical harassment. Well, physical harassment is very, very well known. Touching somebody's body, molesting, and saying something, and maybe tapping on your clothes, something like, basically molestation I would talk about. Lastly, it's a sexual harassment at workplace. Corporates has been very, very careful while dealing with this sexual harassment, which is known quick pro quo. We have heard this favor against favor, right? This is for that. Do this against that favor. So sexual harassment is a very, very crucial subject which we need to talk about. It's a worldwide topic, and it's very important for you to create a safer and conducive work environment using the best policy when it comes to POSH. Now, to enable the workplace safety, it's very important for the corporate to talk about POSH, to have a proper guidelines or a government policies. We have heard Me Too. People were talking about what is this Me Too? Why the female are complaining after so many years that this thing happened with me. I do agree. They should have complained at the beginning, at the first time. But you know what? My question is to all of you. Why this even happened? Why do somebody have to ask for a favor? Why somebody have to say this, you have to do it, you have to do this, you have to do that, then only I will promote you, then only I will do this for you. So of course, Me Too campaign was there. Same time, We Too campaign started, where we started talking about the harassment, because we have not talked about the harassment where male also go through the harassment. Law is pro towards women, because the legislation say the corporate policy should have the POSH committee, IC committee, is mandated by the government of India or by the worldwide global leaders or the companies to have the POSH in place. I can give you fairly big examples, like if we talk about recent case, Microsoft, people have not even spared Bill Gates. He had to go through the trial. There was an investigation. There was a team who sat and talked about. And when we talk about the workplace safety, when we talk about the physical safety, everything has to be taken care properly. And corporates are taking very, very aggressive step towards the POSH and the compliances. You have to formulate a fair POSH committee with the ethics, code of conduct. You have to implement 5 tiers of security. If we talk about the physical security, 2611, everybody understood. Everybody has become very, very careful. When we talk about POSH, nobody thought really that this will happen. I'm talking about myself. Because when I was working, the POSH was never there to support me, to support other female colleagues. But now the corporate are talking about POSH. So the compliances are very, very important. You should have the IC committee, even if you have one female along with 10 employees in the company. You should have IC committee in place. You should have external member, which is the NGO member with you. And we should talk about the sexual harassment widely, globally, and everywhere. You know why? Because, as I said, the laws are very, very pro-women. If you don't deal properly, the Indian Penal Code, which is 354 and the 509, so these are the IPC legislations are there to deal with this sexual harassment. If the female is not comfortable with the investigation within the IC committee, then she has a right to go to the police. Now, when we talk about the legal side, it's very important to understand the Indian Penal Code and the section. We should talk about the IT Act, which is the cybercrime. Cybercrime talks about the digital bullying and any sexual abuse which happens on social media. You must be wondering, you must be thinking, is there any law which protects men? Sorry, mate, there's no law which supports men. I'm sorry to say, but yes, when you go through the law, all the Indian legislation, penal code does protect everybody, other than few laws which says crime against women. So when we talk about beyond the POSH, beyond the women, we have to go through the non-sexual harassment. Majority of the people, they don't even understand what is the difference between the harassment and the sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is something to do with the physical touch, sexual, verbal, and saying against the favor, asking for a favor, maybe sharing the pornography, or maybe sharing some adult jokes. These are the sexual harassment which has been narrated in the law very, very widely. But when we talk about the harassment, it can be on a age, it can be on a color, it can be on races, it can be on mental health, it can be on emotional health. So these are the harassment which we need to understand other than the POSH. You have to be very, very careful, and you should attend and you should have all the gender discrimination, gender equality, and the training and pros and cons with you. You should know what is this law all about it. You have to be very, very careful when you deal with a female employee and when you behave and how you behave at workplace. When it comes to me, again I repeat, the sexual harassment, you know, I always go back to my previous day when I started my career in 2000 into this male dominating business, which is security. I was working with the hotel industry. I had a white collar job. And you know, I would share one small incident. Recently I was watching a movie, that Doctor Strange, the superhero movie. And it made me think, you know, when we talk about the Superman, superhero, batsman, it always comes in your mind that, you know, batsman having the bat suit and the bat ring, Batmobile, etc., etc. Have you ever thought, when it comes to a female bodyguard, what does it come in your mind? Of course, a bulky man, maybe 6 feet height, having bulky body and wearing black suit, black clothes. But when it comes to female bodyguard, what do you think? Can she protect you while wearing sari? Yes, I do protect men while wearing sari. I do speak very soft. But you know what makes me different? I can blend with the crowd. Still I can protect you because I am invisible. People cannot notice me while I'm protecting you. But imagine And the but obvious superhero or batsman standing with that bat suit or the mobile or the clothing, you can make out he's a batsman. But a female who's a batswoman or a superwoman, you can't make out. We have spoken about the harassment, the workplace safety, POSH, gender discrimination, and even the LGBT is very, very important. We need to be very careful what kind of toilets remarking we have. Normally we have she and he, but nowadays we have to say whosoever. So you need to really give safe environment, keeping this community also in mind. You can't discriminate, you can't give the safer environment only he and she. We have to think about the diversity. You know why? Because if we don't give safe workplace to the employee, it become hostile situation. People, they will leave you. And sometimes it's become very, very harmful for the brand. Because it's a brand reputation, it's a business reputation. One case, if does take place, entire reputation goes for 6. I can share many examples where the wrong complaint against POSH on a man was really a big disaster. We have seen in the TV, the Me Too campaign, where many men had committed suicide. I don't want to remind you again and again, but we have gone through the Me Too campaign and the We Too campaign. So I think why we have to talk about this gender discrimination. I think law protect equally men and women. It just few law is pro women because yes, gender discrimination is there at workplace. So as a brand, as a corporate, I'm thankful that DLC and any other corporates and all the people are taking precautions. They are coming up with the legal rights, they're coming up with the committee, they're coming up with the women empowerment initiatives. Women empowerment initiatives does include the CSR activities, they do include the special women wing, they do include the special community, they do include the LGBT committee, they do include education CSR activities, they do include many, many corporate events activities where we talk about women initiative, women empowerment. But I would add one more line. I think we should talk about men empowerment in a way where we can educate men, where we can talk about equality, where we can teach them the right upbringing of the son. Because unfortunately, we have not given any formal education to men while he was growing up. All education was always focused on female, on a girl child. They have not got any formal education how to respect a woman, how to behave, how to sit. And it's too late now to educate them. But nevertheless, nothing is too late. It's the right time that we should talk about, we should speak about, and we should act rightly, correctly to undo the mistakes which my parents have done it. Your parents have done it. So I think the gender equality campaign starts from home. It begins at home. The child brain gets developed at the early age of 5. That is a time he has 90% brain developed. So hey, everyone, you have to teach your child at home, good and bad. No men, no women, just the humanity. So we already talked about the workplace safety. It's critical to the safety of your own employee. So today we have to talk about the safety, which includes, I'll repeat, physical, mental, emotional, virtual, and overall. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Stay tuned. Thank you.